Today's podcast is brought to you by warbyparker.com. Get a free 5-day home try-on at www.warbyparkertrial.com/SIBSB. 5 pairs, 5 days, 100% free.
Until I met my new best friend, all of my boys say I'm tripping. When they call, I'm not answering. They always get my voicemail 'cause I'm
Alex, are we rolling? We are rolling. Welcome to another episode of Sorry I've Been So Busy. This is the podcast where we talk to busy people about what they are busy with. Sometimes they're not very busy. They're fake busy. Today, we have two people. I'm so excited to have them on. They are legit busy. They're in a hit show. We're going to talk to them in a few minutes. Very excited. Andrew Goldstein is here.
At Ange Gold on Twitter, ANGEGOLD.
Welcome, Andrew. And
welcome,
thank
Matt.
you so much for helping to get
Yes,
our great
very
guests
excited about
today.
our guests today.
My name is Matt Goldich, at Matt Goldich on Twitter, MattGoldich. And we're here at the wonderful Showbiz Studios in the East Village in New York City.
Some Showbiz news.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Showbiz Studios now has its own iTunes page, so make sure to check out the Showbiz Studios iTunes page.
And you can find every podcast that the Showbiz Studios produces.
Yes.
All in one convenient
Lots
place.
of different great podcasts. We're happy to be part of the Showbiz family. Also find them on Twitter, at Showbiz, BRIZ Studios. They have the Facebook page, the YouTube page, the website, showbizstudios.com. We have our own Facebook page, by the way.
We do. If you can just type in Busy Podcast and we'll come up.
Busy. We're also at Busy Podcast on Twitter. Please follow us for updates about the show. We're just getting this all out now.
Yeah, send us any emails if you have some incriminating information about Hillary Clinton. That's also good.
Especially if you're a Russian diplomat.
We'll just release those emails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll just, the
whole chain.
You won't need to be hacked. We'll release it ourselves.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Speaking of which, you can always tweet at us, at one of us, or at Busy Podcast if you have an issue about the podcast. And that brings me to our busy...
what kind of issue, Matt?
Our busybody of the week this week. And this is actually somebody that I knew watched the podcast, or excuse me, listened to the podcast.
It's a visual medium.
It's a visual medium in the past. And I'm happy that we have a chance to shout him out.
He's a watchdog.
Josh Galperin, who is a high school friend of my wife, who is now, by the way, a professor at Yale Law School.
Shout out to Josh Galperin.
And the Yale School of Forestry and Environmental Sciences.
Wow.
Josh Galperin, who has told me in the past he's listened to the podcast, and he caught a technical error, and we should give him some real credit because I woke up. Our podcast drops Wednesdays at midnight, so that the idea is when you wake up on Wednesday, it's there in your feed.
your phone.
He's tweeted at us like 7 a.m. on Wednesday, up early. He goes, "Hey, I downloaded it. It's the wrong thing." And so he alerted us to a technical error that happened somewhere in the iTunes
upload
Apple process. It was, we don't know how, but it's not a big deal. Luckily, he caught it early enough that we were able to fix the problem.
It proves that people are listening to the podcast.
Not only listening, but listening
intently
early in the morning. And so, while we don't like to have a mistake, it was nice to know that we have fans who were alerted us that they caught it. So it's great. So Josh Galperin, our busybody of the week. Shout out to Josh.
And our savior.
Very helpful busybody. And thank you for listening, Josh. He's tweeted about listening to the pod before, and I've neglected to mention him, so I'm glad this gives us a chance to mention him. Andrew, before we get to our guests, what have you been busy with?
We, as a married couple, we have been busy with some weddings.
Yeah, a lot of weddings.
My wife is of that age. A lot of people are getting married, and we've had two in the last...
You're of the age where people are starting to get divorced.
Yeah. I'm in the... Yeah, exactly. And so we've had a couple weddings, and one particular wedding, it was a former busybody of the week. Sam Bernstein was one of Jamie's best friends.
Sure.
Jamie was in the wedding. We went to their wedding. It was beautiful. It was in Brooklyn, and when you're married and your wife is in the wedding, you have to arrive at the wedding by yourself.
Yeah,
she's there all day, getting ready, getting hair, makeup, hanging out with the bridesmaids all day. So I have to arrive on my own.
I've been in this situation before.
So I arrive at the wedding. I arrive at the wedding by myself. I'm milling about, the little pre-ceremony drinks, hanging out, and they have the table, the place card table. And I just grabbed our card and put it in a pocket. And I just went about my business. The ceremony was beautiful.
Yeah.
Then we went to cocktail hour. And as cocktail hour was winding down, Jamie comes up to me and she says, hey, can I have the place card? Can we have our table card? Because people are starting to file into the banquet room. And so I just go into my breast pocket of my jacket and I give her the card. And she opens it and it says table 8. So we walk into the banquet room, and the way it was set up with the dance floor, and there were 3 long banquet tables around the perimeter of the dance floor, obviously with the one end open to the band. The other 3 sides of the square dance floor were long banquet tables, which were all filling up with all of the kids, like all of the groomsmen, bridesmaids, and friends.
Yes.
So you would assume Jamie's in the wedding, we're in that age group, we would be seated at one of those tables. Well, our card said table 8, so we're looking. Where's table 8? It's in the back, like, left corner.
Yeah.
Like the way back of the room. We're like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I'm in the wedding.
Right. Now, and this is, we're getting into that territory where how much do you want to bother the bride?
The answer to that question is 0. You don't want to bother.
You don't want to, you want to sit down, shut up, not cause any ruckus.
Exactly. She's talking.
But clearly something is amiss.
We're like, this doesn't make sense. We're going through scenarios in her head. Like, did she designate us to, like, take one for the team because we're so cool that we would, like, be cool with it? We're, like, barely going to be at the table anyway. Like, we're going through, like, elaborate setups to, like, justify this. So then the table 8 starts filling up, and it's all old couples. It's like 60-year-old couples.
I'm now starting to guess in my mind what has happened. I have 2 guesses.
Okay, good. We'll confirm if either of them are correct. Nobody's guessed it yet.
Okay.
And I've told this story to many people. So table 8's filling up with old people. We're like, this can't be right. So we go up to another bridesmaid, Michelle, and we tell her the issue, and she's like, that can't be right. That there has to be an issue. You should go talk to the wedding planner, Bjorn. So Jamie goes, give me the card. She takes the card. She walks out of the room to find the wedding planner, and she says to him, Bjorn, there's like it says table 8. Like, everybody's sitting at the perimeter tables. Like, I think there's something wrong here. He goes, let me see the card. He looks at the card and he says, that's not from this wedding. So Jamie takes the card back, beelines it for me back in the room. She goes, do you have anything else in your pockets? So then I go in my pants pocket and I pull out another place card, which is for this wedding.
Not in a million years would I have guessed it. It makes total sense.
I had place cards from like 3 previous weddings.
Of course, you're wearing the same suit.
Yeah.
Yes, that's so funny.
Now, I got my tux dry cleaned, but like it didn't affect the card.
They didn't send it back in the little plastic bag.
In a little like druggy bag.
That is so funny.
Yeah, table 8.
Wow. My guesses were...
She was so mad at me, but like we just had to laugh.
That's so funny.
She wasn't mad at me.
Well,
I'll take that back. She wasn't mad at me. It was so funny. Like we couldn't be upset at the situation. It was hilarious. And then we waited a day till the brunch the next day to tell the married couple we don't want to bother them.
I guessed either other Andrew Goldstein at the wedding. Yeah, that was my one guess.
That's a good one.
Or B, just that you had the wrong person's card.
The subway pusher was invited to the wedding.
Oh man!
It reminds me of the Seinfeld with the alarm clock, and
yes, I was thinking about the
why
volume.
Separate knob?
It was the volume. Yeah, that's so
separate
funny.
Knob.
I was thinking about that. Oh man, yeah,
it was not the snooze.
That's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah. So the table 8 story is a good one. Everybody was saying that it would be a really good opening scene of like a Hugh Grant movie.
Yes. So of course,
table 8.
So, of course, you went back to the table and gave all the old people the finger.
No, we're like best friends with all the old people. No, we ended up sitting at the appropriate table right around the dance floor. It was just funny, like the like machinations you go through in your head of like, wow, maybe she just needed a couple to fill out a table.
Yeah. Hey, we'll take one for the team.
Yeah, but then Jamie's like, we talk every morning. Like, why wouldn't we went through every detail of the wedding? Why wouldn't she have like cleared this with me?
That is so
funny.
Did I
do something? Like all these things. It was crazy.
That is so funny. And there's also this element of, like, obviously it's not about you. The day is not about you. But then there is a level that you're willing to tolerate to be like, oh, this is like, hey, this is 3 hours of my life, and so, like, you know, I'm a vegetarian and it's a meat meal. Like, I can tolerate that. But, like, are you really going to, like, sit with a bunch of old people you don't know for 3 hours?
We went to a wedding months ago where the couple did the whole, we're just going to, like, haphazardly put the tables together so people meet new people.
Yeah.
And that was really strange.
Yeah.
That was really strange.
Yeah. No, that's a weird one.
I don't know if we'd recommend
as long
that.
as couples are not being split up. Have you been at the dinner party where couples are split up?
No.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that. Jamie would hate it.
Yeah. That's a very funny story. I'm glad. It was very worth it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
so that's what we've been busy with, is trying to figure out what table we're seated
and
at.
since then, you've been busy cleaning out all the business cards.
I
out of all
know,
your
like going
suits,
through every sport jacket I owned.
getting rid of all the old yarmulkes.
Oh my God, I had so
alleviate
many
any confusion.
yarmulkes.
Yeah.
So many wedding yarmulkes. And brisses.
Let's take a quick break, and then we'll be back with our guests. We're very excited to have.
Hey, for you, the listeners of the Sorry I've Been So Busy podcast, Warby Parker is offering a free 5-day home try-on to give you the opportunity to check out their glasses. I was in L.A., I would say 2 years ago, and I was walking on Abbott Kinney, and I popped in the Warby Parker store, and I found a fantastic pair of sunglasses I still use today. Sunglasses rarely ever fit me well. I have a very small head. They fit them to perfection on my face. And the thing I love about Warby Parker, you can walk into any of their stores at any time, and they'll readjust your glasses for no cost. And you kind of always can tell when somebody's wearing Warby Parkers. They're very stylish. To get your home try-on today, go to warbyparkertrial.com/SIBSB. Again, that's warbyparkertrial.com/SIBSB for your free 5-day home try-on.
All right, we're back with our guests. We're very excited to have them here. Andrew, why don't you go ahead and introduce our guests?
They're the hottest tag team on the planet. The Beatdown Biddies themselves from Glow on Netflix. Rebekka Johnson and Kimmy Gatewood.
That's right, you hot piece of ass.
Wow. Right into it. Awesome.
We're the hottest thing since sliced bread.
Is this microphone on? I can't hear myself.
Where am I?
I actually can. Don't worry.
I love that you guys brought back the word biddies.
We didn't bring
do
it back
it, no.
ourselves.
Well,
the writers did.
Oh, it was in there. That's
Yeah.
a good question. How much of like what you were doing was like improvised or was based on your own creation, or how much of it was like in there already?
A lot of the dialogue as the biddies was improvised.
Yes.
It looked that
They
way.
gave us a script,
Sure.
and then they just said, well, this is why we hired you guys. So just
Yeah.
do whatever you want.
So, like in the promo part in episode 3, it wasn't actually improvised. We wrote it all.
we pitched a couple of
Yeah,
bits
we-
to them.
The prank calls.
That was written.
that was written.
Got it.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So basically, Dawn and Stacy a lot of Dawn and Stacy was scripted dialogue, and then there was a
throw in
couple
a couple of
parts
things.
that we said we would throw in like an improvised line, or we'd pitch a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But the biddies, most of what we're yammering
Right.
about is just improv or
In episode
or planned.
10, I had no idea that we were even
Mic'd.
Mic'd.
Yeah, like the whole time we're coming down the
That's the
ramp,
best way
just
to do
yelling
it.
and that was mostly.
Well, for those who haven't watched yet,
Oh, man.
Glow on Netflix is fantastic.
We talked about this on a previous episode. So you're a huge wrestling
Huge.
fan. So obviously this was like right in your wheelhouse from the
Yeah.
beginning. You watched Glow growing up,
Yes.
Andrew. I believe Saturday mornings,
Grew up with
right?
it.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
I am somebody who could not
Philly
be
57.
less interested in wrestling. So I mean, like, this is actually, we have a very close friendship. This is the one thing that sort of like keeps us apart, which is like I have zero interest in wrestling, and yet I would say we both very much enjoyed the show. I was actually resisting watching it because it was about wrestling, and then I heard it was good. One night, wife and I were looking for something to watch. It was like, it kept being the main, the big banner on Netflix. We watched the first episode, and I was like, I'm hooked. And then we just tore through the whole thing. It's so great. It's so great.
And you get through it quickly because the episode, they fly.
Yeah.
It was really great.
Yeah.
So,
I did grow up watching Glow on Philly 57, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
And you guys, the biddies are based on the Housewives, which was an actual tag team in Glow. I'm getting nerdy, but
I would
prepare
say
for a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, as you saw, I'm sure there's a lot of things inspired by.
Inspired
the
by,
actual
yeah.
Glow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and like they, those girls were actually like sisters.
Oh, wow.
And
Oh.
so there's a documentary about Glow, which
Yeah.
you should watch.
It's
one thing
great.
I have not done is watch I need to
Amazing.
watch the documentary.
Yeah.
I'm doing it in reverse.
So those girls were sisters. Kimmy and our characters were best friends. So they like took the element of two
Yeah.
people that work really well together. And we love the Housewives. I mean, I personally like think they're just so funny. Like
They were
when I
the
was,
I love the
Yeah.
sketch comedy element
It's
of
so
Glow.
funny.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Did you guys watch it growing up at all?
I watched it growing up after my piano lesson.
Oh, shit.
I would literally take piano Saturday mornings and then afterwards stay and just watch Glow. I was like 5 and my piano teacher was 16. She was just a teenager,
Yeah.
which I think is funny that she would be like, just hang out, watch Glow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Here, let's
When I
watch ladies
first heard
wrestling.
this story, I thought she was I pictured some 90-year-old woman. No, like
Yeah.
as her piano teacher, and then she was like 16. I was like, context. Is
Yeah, that
very
makes a lot more
important.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know the Glow rap? I do.
The gorgeous ladies of wrestling.
We're
Yeah.
the gorgeous ladies of wrestling. We're
I
all
don't know
champions
the-
in the ring. We come from the streets. We come from the city. We come from a world where there is no pity. And then each of the girls had their own little introductory
we've seen
rap.
It. Yeah. Well, we have our rap in the show.
I know.
Right.
And we
Anyway,
say Glow like
I just
13
wanted to
times
do
at the
that
end of it.
on air. That was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun for me.
Did
That
you?
was great. Actually, I love it. I love that you could just like summon it.
He
yeah.
wrote,
Deep
he wrote
within.
for WWE as well.
I
so-
did. I did know that.
I worked
Yeah.
for WWE.
But still, Glow is such a
So
specific thing.
Chavo, who trained you guys,
Yeah.
I worked very closely with him in 2006. He might not remember me so much, but because I was super low man on
who
the
trained them
totem
in-
pole. the wrestling trainer on the show.
the guy who plays the
stunt
wrestling trainer.
No,
coordinator.
But he was-
the real one.
Oh, the
And
real
he
real
one?
himself
Okay.
is a third generation wrestler.
Yeah,
that
so
was pretty cool.
we'll put this in context for anyone
Yes.
who doesn't know about the show or wrestling or whatever. So for 4 weeks, we trained before we started filming with Chavo Guerrero Jr., who's, like you said, third generation wrestling legend.
The family is legendary.
Yes,
yeah.
the Guerreros.
His uncle, Mondo, actually trained the real Glow Girls. Which
yeah.
is just like
I heard you
cool.
say that on the Sklar podcast, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Whoa!"
I didn't lie when I said it then.
I love it.
There's so many layers and levels that are like hard to keep track of, where you guys are playing characters who are training and learning to wrestle, but then you're also training and learning to wrestle, but then you're also playing characters who are playing characters. It's very hard to
Yeah.
keep track of all the layers. But
it's
it's
a
like,
dream come true.
I know,
It's
right?
so
Yeah, there's a
fun. And
lot
we
of-
also we feel like our journey, like at Kimmy and Rebekka, was so similar to Dawn and Stacy, just in that like we didn't know how to wrestle beforehand. Neither did Dawn and Stacy. You know,
We
and
didn't
like,
even necessarily know, like, I mean, I was like, wrestling, sure, like, that sounds interesting as an actor. You're like, I dream of learning a new skill, but then you're like, what if I'm terrible? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And Kimmy was the best. The Chavo and Marty Elias, who's like a
Referee, yeah.
He like worked with us too, and they would called her Kimmy one time, number one, because she got everything right the first time, and they were like, "You were a wrestler in a previous life," and I was the worst, so they called me nothing.
And you're a natural.
and you watched wrestling growing up. And did you watch wrestling growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely watched it. I was never a super fan. I
Right.
just, just to keep up with your friends.
She didn't know the rap.
No,
No, I didn't know that. I did watch it. There's a couple of matches that stick in my head, and obviously Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
You
come
didn't
on,
know Hulk
the
Hogan
Hulkster.
or
His sex
Rowdy
tape,
Roddy Piper.
legendary.
I would know. Yeah, like I would know Roddy Piper from like a Slim Jim commercial. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't know. I
Macho
would
Man
know-
was Slim
Oh, that
Jim.
was Macho
That's
Man.
okay.
Yeah.
What was Rowdy?
Well,
What would I know
Piper was
Rowdy?
ubiquitous. I mean, he was everywhere. He was
Some of
in
them-
They Live, the movie.
I never saw that, but I mean, I knew Andre the Giant.
There was
from
the
Princess
cartoon,
Bride.
which
Like,
you may have come across.
I would know. I would anything that crossed over
Yeah,
is what
yeah,
I
yeah.
would know.
I used to watch the cartoon.
There was
Princess Bride, Andre the Giant.
There was a situation in the Real Glow that I remember watching. I was like 10, and the elbow dislocation.
It's in
It's
the
in the documentary,
documentary.
and it was so upsetting. It was not a dislocation. It was,
was
a
a-
full.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
okay.
the shit came out. The tendon.
I talk all the time. People always ask me, "Why have you stuck with wrestling all this time? You're like 40. Why are you still watching wrestling? Why are you so obsessed?" And I always the explanation that I always give them is that with the major sports, the legit sports or whatever, you might get a holy shit moment maybe once a game, if that. Right? Mm-hmm. Wrestling manufactures them. So if you watch any wrestling show,
Yes.
you're going to get some kind of holy shit moment. And I remember, and one of the most memorable holy shit moments in all of the hours and hours of wrestling I've ever watched is that moment from Glow. And I remember I was like 10 years
Wait,
old.
It was Susie Spirit,
watching-
right?
Yeah.
Susie Spirit.
What actually
So
happened?
this like Amazon woman, right? This is all from my memory because I haven't watched it back. But the Amazon-y type woman like swings in, right?
Godiva, maybe?
No,
I don't remember.
I can't remember
Somebody-
who hurts her.
But she hits this woman in such a fashion that her elbow, the bone,
Actually.
pops through the skin.
Yeah, and so it was Susie Spirit who got hurt. I can't remember who was fighting her, but yeah, basically, and she in the documentary is like, it was my fault because we're all supposed to. The whole thing is you're supposed to keep each other safe,
Right.
And so she felt like it was her own fault. Like she was just only nervous. Like, am I not
just
going to be able to
fell
wrestle?
wrong.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
fell wrong, and she was like, oh God, now I can't wrestle.
I can't believe they kept it in.
Yeah.
Oh, of course they
That's
did.
crazy that they would
Because
leave
it was
that
on in the mornings after cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they showed like
And
a
it's not
really,
live. It's not
a
like they
really
have to
gory
show it.
injury.
Yeah.
It's like that college basketball thing when that guy's leg broke.
Yeah, the Louisville guy,
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was just watching the Netflix series, like, when's Rebekka's elbow going to pop
No.
out? I know.
Oh God, don't wish that upon
I
me.
know, because then
no.
it'll happen like in real life.
Never.
So you guys have been performing together for a long time.
The
How-
Apple Sisters.
Yeah. Give us the background. What's it?
So we were doing improv at the UCB here in New York City,
Yeah.
and then we both moved over to the People's Improv Theater,
Yeah.
and the Pit. It's funny because when we left, like nobody really knew
It's
what the
like
Pit was, and now everybody
WWE and
knows.
WCW.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Now, yeah.
Good analogy. And we were like the only female teachers because at the time there was only one woman per improv team.
Sure.
I mean, we
Max.
thought it was a rule,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. And then people kept saying, you guys should do a show together, and we were like, why? Just because we're women?
Yeah, so we really resisted it.
Yeah.
And then...
And they were like, no, because you have a good chemistry and you're both very talented.
You don't know me.
and then Kimmy made...
That should be the name of the show.
It's just because we have tits.
Yeah.
So Kimmy made this comedic pinup calendar, which I thought was the funniest thing I ever saw, which I actually, later when we talk about boiling points, I
it's
gave
coming.
the pictures from Kimmy's calendar to the producers from Boiling Points and was like, you should hire this person.
Oh, it's
I
good.
remember that.
Well, but
oh
and
my
they were like,
gosh.
we want like a sexy model, not like a comedian. And
Right.
I was like, all right, well, this is the sexiest person I know.
He's on a Corvette.
Yeah.
But it was a really funny like pinup calendar, and I was like, okay, I have to work with. Okay, I'll listen to all these people. I have to work with
and
them.
to add to the complimentary festival, Rebekka was like a magical, hilarious sprite. I've never heard anyone so funny in my entire life on stage.
So
It's
lucky
true.
we get to work
And
together,
yes,
and we
you guys
created the
did
Apple
Apple
Sisters.
Sisters
So there's
for a
three
long
of us.
time.
So Sarah Lowe is also in the Apple Sisters, and the three of us all we created it 10 years ago. We do 1940s musical comedy, 3-part harmony, slapstick.
We have if you can listen to this it's a retro podcast on Earwolf if you ever wanted to go back and listen
we still
to
do
us
shows.
again.
Yeah, we still do shows.
Unbelievable. 10 years later, you're still doing the same characters.
Same characters, but it's like with different. It's almost like
Yeah,
episodic because
of
we
course.
have I don't know 15 at
Shows
least
and
shows, but we have lots of
100
songs.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Had you guys been brought in as a tandem to audition for things in the past, like before Glow? Because I think it's so cool that like you guys have been together as a comedic tandem for like 10 years, and
Yeah.
here you are, you get cast on the same show together to work together to be sort of a tandem.
We've been in like the Apple Sisters will be brought in like
we were on Bridesmaids, we're in the
Yeah.
Blu-ray. Like we were, we've been brought
We
in
sang
like
a song.
work together, and
did
we
a bit
work
on
together all
Conan.
the time, but not as an audition where we would be a pair. Because often we'll audition for the same part,
Right.
but
which
this
is and then like right after Glow we auditioned for like people who
could be best friends, and we
And
asked to go in the same room, and then they were
They
like,
were offended.
No
you
one
guys are
does that.
typecast as best friends.
I would
Yeah.
love that.
I
It
know.
makes it so much easier. You have a shorthand and people are like, God, they really seem like best friends. We're like, yeah, because we are.
Yeah, people are like, how did you
Well-
guys just finish each other's sentences? We're like, because we've been doing that for 10 years.
I love it.
So they brought us in together.
You're like the Beastie Boys.
Were the producers of Glow, were they specifically looking for people who knew each other or who were best friends, or could
For
they?
this part,
for
yeah.
this
They
particular-
wanted a comedic duo.
They
or,
wanted comedy duos. They
Yeah.
weren't necessarily looking
Yeah.
for best friends, but they
Yeah.
were looking for comedy duos.
You could be rivals, but a
Yeah.
comedy duo, and that
Right.
would still have worked.
It's funny though, and you can't fake that because I remember back from my commercial audition days. One time, like I just happened to be there at the same time. They were bringing people in 2 at a time, and there was this other comedian there who I knew, and they brought us in, and they were like, "Wow, you guys are good." And then like you guys are a team, and then we were just like, yeah, we just pretended. It was like from then on we were a comedy team until the end of the end of the callbacks, just like just pretending to. But it was
That's funny.
We should have him on.
I know who it is. It's Ryan Connor. He was on Last Comic Standing.
Let's get him on.
We it's like our one thing.
You're gonna make Andrew jealous.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, we are the ultimate comedy team. What was funny was
we went to camp together.
We did. We were camp counselors together. We go way back, and then the question that you asked like 2 questions ago was literally the next question on my brain. So I was like, we have.
You get it.
He's 2 questions ahead of you all the time.
Yes.
We're gonna bring in the Apple Sisters and the Sister girls, and
yes,
see who gets it.
Apple sisters.
See who gets it. Boiling Points is such a meaningful show for me. I talked about it on the pod a bunch. My first writing job, I started as a PA, became a writer.
It's my first acting job.
First thing I ever produced. First
Rebekka
thing I ever
still
wrote.
gets recognized from Boiling Points.
I got recognized at the airport in December from like a Jersey.
And they're like, "Where's the camera?"
Yeah. No, he's like, "I know you. And he's like, "Where are you from?" "Oh, Boiling Points." And he's like, "I love John Blitt. I watch his pranks every day."
Hey, shout out to John
doesn't
Blitt.
know him in real life.
Yeah. Wow.
He knows him from fucking TV from long ago.
I guess I was like walking over here like, what do I even ask about Boiling Points? But I was telling you outside, like, I still have PTSD when I walk in like a deli or a restaurant that we used for pranking. So like, what are your memories of Boiling Points? Because for me, it's very meaningful. A lot of my best friends in TV came out of it. It's my first writing job, which like launched whatever kind of career that I have and everything like that. So it was a very great time for me in my life. So
it was a really cool time. I mean, I remember the first time I had to do a prank, it was for the audition, and it was outside Times Square.
The cell phone?
Yeah, the cell phone bit, and I had to do it like outside the MTV building on Broadway. And I was so nervous. I feel like this and wrestling are kind of similar because I was so nervous that there was one point where I just got really scared and I started hiding behind one of those like little newspaper stands and I could hear Frank and Adam be like, "Where'd she go? Where the hell is she?" And in my mind I was like, "You're either going to get this job or not, like based on whether or not you like get out from behind this newspaper stand." And then I did and they pushed me hard. Like I had to do actually more offensive things in that audition than I ever had to do on the show. I think they were just like, "How far can we push her?"
Yeah.
Were you there?
No, I was hired later, but she just had to walk up to people, "Can I borrow your cell phone?" and then not give it back.
Now, back then, this was 2003, and minutes cost money back then. So you can't just like use, first of all, you're using someone else's cell phone, and then I'd be like, "I have an emergency, can I borrow your cell phone?" And then I'd get it, and then I'd be like, "I'm in New York! How are you using? Oh my God, it's beautiful here. Tell me everything in your closet, like list it all. Like tell me what you're wearing." And I would be really stupid and annoying. Yeah. And I know, those beats.
This explains a lot, actually, Rebekka.
But then I did that prank many times. I got it, and at that time I was the only girl on the show right in the beginning. Per the comedy rule, that only one female per.
Well, it's
the good old days.
Yeah.
It was a good environment for women because they needed one.
Yeah,
so,
they needed one.
So,
it was perfect for me because I became it. But I ended up loving it. I feel like pranking became like really thrilling. And I would be really excited to prank, and
there was a
fun.
Thrill to it for sure.
It's thrilling. Like it's like when you're a kid, you prank call, and most of the time it worked.
Yeah,
I mean,
my biggest Rebekka Johnson Boiling Points memory is you played the like. Eventually, we sort of turned. You had this like lonely girl character where you would just cling on to people. So we were in Central Park in the Sheep's Meadow. Couples were like on blankets canoodling. And then you just walk up with your glasses in your like bag, and you plop down next to this couple, and you just don't leave.
And I played a trumpet next to them.
Yeah, and you become their best friend.
Did you know that? Were you going to tell this part of the story?
Yeah. So she does the whole thing, reveals. Everybody's cool with it. Everybody thinks it's funny. We go to get the release from the guy. And he's like, "Oh, I can't sign that." And we're like, "Why? That was hilarious. It was amazing. That would be like an amazing segment." And he goes, "Well, this isn't my girlfriend."
Oh my God.
We like outed him for cheating.
That is so
that same
funny.
day, though. This is the story I was going to tell.
Oh, wow. We told different stories.
That same day, my ex-boyfriend was one of the couples from high school. So I go up, and I
don't think I knew
guy
this.
is like kissing this girl, and I pull out my trumpet. And I look over and I was like, oh my God. And I just started running away.
And all the producers are probably like, why is he running?
I thought we went through this in the audition.
My ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
It's my ex-boyfriend.
That is
Which
this is like
so
the
funny.
30 for 30 boiling point.
Yeah.
That was funny.
That's
and
amazing.
The
Running
other
away is
big
exactly
story
what I
was
would
when
have
I
done.
got spit in the face.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That was crazy.
Ooh.
That was also right outside the MTV building.
Yeah.
And it was
Some people, I'm telling you, I have
that
PTSD.
was a bad place to prank. NYU was the best area to prank.
Yeah.
This was bad, and we were desperate. There was no like young people. It was like the best target was like 18 to 25. And
Yeah.
there was just nobody that age walking by.
Invariably, every time we pranked out of the demo, we got in trouble.
That's the thing. And this
Like
guy
when
was
we-
just like 30 something.
We Billy Merritt took some lady's dog in Central Park. We got sued. Like, just terrible
Remember Billy
things.
almost got pushed in the lake?
yeah.
I was there for that
my
too.
God.
But it was after that lake push that they started having
Then we had security on set at the
Yeah,
end.
they didn't have
and
it for
then
my
the show ended up becoming like a lot of dates. It
Yes.
was a lot of setup. But the early days of Boiling Points where we
Oh my
were just
God.
pranking
I
guerrilla
used
style.
to give
no
people the middle
setups,
finger,
nothing.
like where they would cut it out, but I'd give people the middle finger
Yeah.
to make them mad because I was like, okay, they'll get mad from that, and then you just cut out me doing the finger.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then after a while, they were like, you can't
You can't do that
Because I'd be
anymore.
like, I'd just whisper to them, fuck you, fuck you. And then that would never
Right.
make it in. But
So
Wait, so then they would turn around and be like, hey, what's up? What's that all about? And then that would engage them? Or
like if they weren't getting mad from the prank, then I'd give
Yeah.
them the finger or say, fuck you.
Because
I see.
The point
point
of
was
the
to make
game
them
on
mad.
TV was for them
Right.
to stay patient,
Yeah.
and so they could win the money. But the point for us was to get those amazing reactions.
To rise
so her
them.
giving them the finger and saying, whispering "fuck you" in their face, that was for us.
When I had their credit card and I was saying, oh, it's not working or whatever, I was going to charge them $1 million, whatever.
that was
I
like
just be
every week. Yeah.
So compared to this, you had no fear about wrestling.
You are so
I mean,
ballsy.
This makes wrestling look easy, but given just walking up to random people on the street and giving them the finger.
Unbelievable.
Now
Unbelievably-
I couldn't do. I mean,
Yeah.
I did the last prank show I did was 3 years ago,
Yeah.
or a little bit over 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was nervous. I mean, I did it. It came back, and I was nervous to do it. And then when I was doing it, I was like, "This is so fun!"
Yeah.
But I don't really want to do prank shows
Yeah.
anymore.
I
but it
get
was
nervous.
fun. I mean, it was fun.
Even producing them. I can't really
Well,
do
no,
it anymore.
no offense to the world of prank shows, but I feel like you guys, with the success of Glow, hopefully, you won't have to do any more prank shows.
I think
maybe
I
you
know.
never
it'll
know.
fill
This
that
industry
demand.
is brutal.
Yeah, although they
Yeah,
don't pay
true.
they don't pay like they used to. Now there'll be prank shows that have come up that have asked me to do it, and it'll be 10th of what I was getting
$10
paid
a
in
prank.
2003, and I'll be like, that's not worth it. I
don't
can't do
think
something
that-
I can't
I
be
might
doing
get
it
spit on.
I would rather
Yeah.
wait tables that day and make a little more money.
But anyway, yeah, it was a really good time, and
was
also
fun.
what
I loved
what
everybody.
a cast, because look what everyone's doing.
Yeah, Colton Dunn.
Dunn is on Superstore.
Allison Becker, she's
Allison
working. and
Becker
Kimmy
was on
writes
The
with her.
Office.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alison Becker and I just did a short
and Parks
film.
and Rec.
Oh.
Allison
And Parks
was
and
on.
Rec, that's
Yeah,
what I meant.
Allison and Kimmy just did a
That's
short
amazing.
that's in all these festivals.
It's going to be at the Holly Shorts Festival. I don't know when this podcast is coming out, but
Yeah.
Probably next week.
yeah. All right, yeah, and Holly Shorts.
That's so great. She's
But
the
also Nick Kroll, and people don't know, had been on in the pilot.
In the pilot.
Oh.
yeah.
Katie
Oh.
Dippold
Katie
was in
Dippold
it.
is like
I
a
mean,
gigantic
she wrote
screenwriter.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I finally have another credit beyond Boiling Points.
Well, it's a great one. So
Rebekka
yeah.
Johnson bringing up the rear of Boiling Points.
Remember Sauce?
Of course.
The
Guy named Sauce.
there was a guy named
There was
Sauce?
a cast member named Sauce.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe
Is it
you,
like
you have
hamburger?
sauce beat. You're doing better than sauce.
Yeah, you're doing.
No, Sauce is a great
We
stand-up.
we did some
funny.
we did some really good stuff with him, especially
he's
later on
hilarious.
Prankville, which
Yeah.
was like blue collar Boiling
I was
Points,
on that
which we-
too.
Oh yeah. I don't remember much of it.
You guys have had an awesome cast on Glow. It's like it's like a murderer's
Oh, yeah.
row. It's like to call you guys scene stealers would be inappropriate because of how great everybody is. It's like
good.
they're just like from the Allison and Mark, and all
Yeah.
the stars to like all of like the little bit parts. Like everybody is just like so good.
How
and so
much fun was the spandex? The outfits seemed like so much fun.
Very
Dress
fun.
up.
It was the best. Well,
Very
can
comfortable.
I say something about the cast?
Sure.
Is that
Yes.
even the small part, like Rich Summer plays Betty
Yes.
Gilpin's husband, and it was might have just been a one episode thing.
Yeah.
But no matter what, the creators will cast the best actor.
Sure.
Because there's always a possibility that anybody from that
course.
world could come back. So even the smallest person from the casting director, who I thought was so funny, came
Mallory?
back.
Yeah.
She came back, and they just cast the best person. So I think there's a lot lot of care that goes into
plus,
casting.
You get a little mini Mad Men reunion there.
Yeah.
Totally.
So that's exciting. Yeah. But he was great. And then, but what was I going to say? There was someone else that was like, oh, well, that person's in it. I was so excited, but I don't know.
I recognized she ended up playing like the terrorist like that.
Sunita.
Right?
Sunita.
Right. I just came off of working on a music video show, which I told you, and she's in Turned Down for What, which is the most
Yeah.
It
bonkers
is
music video
the
of all time,
best.
with the pelvic thrusting, and he like humps everything and falls through the floor.
By the Daniels,
her clothes get blown off in the video, like she's in it, and that was a big part of my show. So I'm watching, I was like, oh my god, it's the girl from Turned Down for What?
Which we didn't find out about that until, I don't know, at least a month or
I
so.
fangirled out when I knew that she was in that video.
Yeah, we were
I
like-
love that video.
Yeah, we were like,
It's
why
an
isn't that the
insane
first thing you tell
music
everyone?
video.
We were like, you should walk up to people and tell
Is
them.
she
I was
proud?
in
Is
that.
she like?
Oh yeah,
okay,
no, she's
good.
proud of it.
Oh yeah, she had like a hangout, and she's like, "These are the directors from Turned Down for What?" And I was like, "Ah!" I freaked out.
Yeah,
Wow.
she's friends with the directors. That's
And so you guys did like 4 weeks of actual wrestling training with all the other women. Is that right?
yeah, all 14 of us. So only Kia Stevens was a pro wrestler before.
She plays.
She
she's
plays
awesome
Teme.
Kong
Yeah.
Yes.
and Karma.
And
Yeah.
so she knew how to wrestle, obviously, but the rest of us didn't. So we did 4 weeks, and then on the days off from shooting, we would also wrestle.
Oh wow.
We'd like prep for a wrestling match if we had something bigger coming up. Like
Yeah.
in episode 7, we have a big match, and 10, we have a big match.
Yeah.
7 is that the KKK?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
That came from
Yeah.
your real life, right? That was the first
Yeah,
one.
they just looked at my Facebook page,
We're just
and they said, what do they hate?
Yeah.
Let's give them
Well,
that.
you know, the show really deals with stereotypes, and
you were like, I have the outfit. If we can save money on wardrobe because I have it.
Yeah.
It was like horrifying when we found out because they kept being skirting around it.
we
Like,
didn't
they
see
don't-
it in the script first, so we didn't know
We
how
just
it
started
was gonna
training
play
for the
out.
match,
Yeah.
and they were like, so we're the good guys? And they're like, no.
This is literally so similar to the show, where it's
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
you know, it's revealed
like
at the last
same
minute. It's very,
thing.
it's so
we think
strange.
that they were like had microphones in the gym to
Yeah. I
overhear
know.
us because things that we all said while training was then said on the show.
Unbelievable.
Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
That's hilarious.
And
That-
since that scene aired, now you're getting calls to open for the Trumps. It's
Yeah.
like it's the whole cottage industry.
But well, you know, we all
RNC
have a wrestling
2020.
background.
You're going
you know,
on
Trump
tour,
and us.
going on tour with
Yeah.
Richard Spencer, and no, that was a great. That was probably the episode where you finally get to see them wrestle in front of people. Was like that was probably
It was
my
great.
favorite.
It was like jump off
other
the
than-
couch. It was so much
Yeah,
fun.
and then the finale, like I actually got chills, like when the Pat Benatar song comes on, and
Yeah.
you're and during the montage, and like how
Yeah.
you see everyone's storyline sort of come to its natural conclusion. I was like actually like rooting for people, which was unexpected.
As a podcaster, if I was on the show, I'd be like, maybe we'll get a chance to be on Mark's podcast.
Yeah, I
No.
mean, probably in like 6 years.
Yeah, there's probably a long waiting list to get in that garage.
He has to get through the rest of the Stones first, I think.
Yeah.
But he was great on the show too, and he's not really. I mean, he's played himself on stuff before.
Right, he
hasn't
said
really
this is
done
his
any,
first
like,
role playing
acting.
something other than himself.
And
Even
he
though
was
it's
great.
really, it's like written for him.
Sure.
Yeah,
Of
it's
course.
like a
He just became
one-turn.
that character.
Yeah.
His
truly.
outfits especially was just like every teacher that I had.
Yeah.
Like those
The
velour
science
collared
teacher that you know is
like
doing coke
long
in the background.
polos. Yeah.
You know that his wife probably bought him that. His character's wife bought that for him when it was nice, and then when they got divorced, he's
Yeah.
just like
Still wearing it.
you
And
know?
like the larger glasses, like my dad had them, I remember.
Yeah, shout out to Beth Morgan, our costume designer.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was
the
great.
best.
And our clothes every day.
We can talk about spandex now.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
let's
Our
do
clothes
it.
were ridiculous, like so ridiculous. Like it was just like millions of leopard print, like crazy accessories, like.
So when we first came in, they didn't know what Dawn and Stacy were necessarily going to be. Like we became the heavy metal kind of look.
Yeah.
But after a few different options, we were like, they call it the Coral Dreams, right?
Oh, yeah.
Coral Dreams, which is just like a lot of like that 80s like pastel and
Yeah.
Kind of what
like-
Jenny ended up wearing on the show.
Yeah, yeah. And then There was another. Oh, we were actually, when we first went in, they were supposed to be 80s stand-up comics. So we thought we were like two little Paula Poundstones or something.
Right, so you had
They
blazers.
gave us huge
You have
shirts to
blazers
try on.
with your sleeves pulled up to the
Like
elbows.
huge button downs. It was
Yeah.
so funny.
It was so funny.
Judy
That's
Tenuta.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
And then eventually, Genji Cohan, who is the EP of the show, she said like she was like kind of missing the heavy metal look
Like
because of
Sunset
the cast.
Strip look.
Sure, that's a
It was
big
like-
part of
yeah,
the 80s.
yeah.
Well, there was
so we
the tag
became
team
those
Hollywood
girls.
and Vine.
Yes,
In the
which is
real-
which
That's
is kind of
more
like
of what
Spike.
Melrose
Or
was.
Spike and Chainsaw, I think. Is
Spike
what
and
you're thinking.
Chainsaw too. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were more like heavy metal. And,
Yeah, and they're the same ladies that played Spike and Chainsaw, played the New Jersey Housewives. They were the
Right.
same sisters.
Oh, I don't
that.
think I even knew that.
Yeah.
I bested you on wrestling.
Look at you.
Oh,
Knowledge.
boy. Shame.
Shame.
Now he'll just start quizzing
Shame.
us,
It's like,
and we'll be like, no,
Game
no,
of
you
Thrones.
definitely know more.
And you had to shave the side of your head.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fun.
Yeah, we were like, do whatever we were like, we're so excited to be on TV.
We're
Do
so
whatever
excited.
you want. And on Boiling Point's no hair and makeup people. So we're like, hey, we have someone doing
No
this.
hair and makeup people. We barely had lunch.
Well, we were like, do whatever you want. And they gave us each matching side mullets.
Yeah.
I love it.
They just shaved the left side of my head and then spiked it about 2 feet in the air.
Yeah.
And over the course of the 4 months, Kimmy's hair just got higher and higher
really
and higher.
did.
They just didn't really cut it.
And all the crazy makeup.
Yeah. That
We
would,
Lot
had
of eyeliner.
the best. We
Yeah.
had the best makeup.
because we got to have that crazy makeup every day, as opposed to then when we're old ladies at the end, it
Yeah.
was like, it was cool makeup still, but the other girls were like glitz and glam for the end, and we were glitz and glam every day.
Well, let's talk about this. This is actually a good transition.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
This is the part where we normally would talk about what a day in the guest's life is like. And so I think it'd be interesting to talk about a day on set.
Sure.
And so for you guys and what that's like. And so if you don't mind just like taking us through that, I think it's actually something we haven't really talked to anybody about.
Yeah.
Like as an
I
actress
think it'll be great.
on set. So like,
And I'm sure it'll go in all kinds of directions.
And by the way, yeah, feel free to, we'll get caught up in the weeds, I'm sure, but go ahead. Yeah.
I guess we'll kind of like break some things down because I'm sure not everybody's familiar with how television production
Get
works.
as technical
right?
as possible
Yeah.
and don't explain it. Thank you.
Well, I mean, most days, like on a busy day, like maybe at the studio or something, we would get up at like 5 a.m. because there's 14 women to get ready, which
Yeah.
we don't have a lot of 80s hair and makeup, so it'd take a few hours.
And the earlier in the week, the earlier your call time is, so there were times when our call time was like 4. Like,
Oof.
and we were going to then work for 14 hours because it would
Yeah.
take a few hours to get through the hair and makeup.
And sorry to interrupt, but you guys both, during the shooting, had young kids, right?
Yeah, we both had 1.5-year-olds, basically. Yeah.
That's
So
another
they kept
parallel
us
to
up.
the actual show, by the way.
Well,
But
no, not
sort of.
our
Not on
kids'
your
stuff. Yeah,
characters,
yeah, yeah.
but I'm saying, the balancing
Betty,
of the.
yeah.
Okay, yes, go on. Sorry.
Totally,
Yes.
totally. I know we'd actually talk to Betty sometimes about like
Yeah.
and the creators too. They also had young kids.
Yeah.
But we get up at 5, we get our hair and makeup done. We had trailers next to each other, and you could open. We just kept the door open between them.
Yeah,
Sure.
so that we
That's-
basically had one big room for not big, one small room
One small
instead of half a small room.
Yeah,
That's
for
great.
the two of us.
Basically, a trailer. If anybody doesn't know, it's just like you'll see them on the street, and then you walk in. There's like a little kind of bench, and
Yeah.
then a sink and a toilet. It's like a prison.
Yeah.
But then your costume will be there, and for us, it was always spandex and 14 belts.
Yeah.
And all the girls, most of us were in these little, where there's like 5 tiny trailers in one big truck. So there were 2 of those next to each other, and we called it Glow Alley because it was like all of us, and we'd constantly be opening the doors, and it felt very
Look at me.
like vaudeville. Yeah, you just flash each other
Yes.
and stuff.
So after you get your hair and makeup done, like you have
Which
to
took
put
about in the beginning
2 to
like an
3
hour.
Now, in
per
the makeup,
person.
in the hair makeup
Yeah.
chair, are you on your phone? Are you sleeping? Are you reading the newspaper? What are you doing to pass the
We
time?
actually got put in separate makeup trailers,
Which
so it
we
was
were a little
really-
nervous
I know.
about being
Apart.
separated.
I know.
right.
My trailer was different than hers because mine was like quiet. There were less people in there. So it would often just be like, you'd be in there and I'd look at my phone. I'd read the script like for the
Right.
day, like look over it. We'd order breakfast.
Sure.
Like,
The PA goes to get you breakfast.
Yeah.
And you're like, I want an egg sandwich. You're like, I am a fancy millionaire now.
yeah, I would get like these same tacos every day, these egg breakfast tacos. And
Drink hot
really
coffee
good.
through
I
a
never
straw.
had the tacos. No,
They were so good. I love
No.
tacos.
Yeah, that's the big.
That's the-
I bet,
Although we didn't, because they would constantly make up our lips anyway. So
Right.
I drank so much coffee and stuff. But yeah, we'd sit there, drink coffee, talk to the talk to the makeup artist. In the beginning, it was like a lot of talking, and then by the end, it was sort of like that was sort of downtime. So I wouldn't sleep, but just kind of like
I worked on a
relax.
morning show. We had Carrie Keegan on. I definitely walked in, and she would be like sleeping in the makeup chair.
Some people slept.
Kia
4:30
slept.
in the morning.
Yeah, Kia slept every time she got her makeup
It was so
done.
funny to see her getting her hair done, and she's just like nodding off. It was so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, our trailer was loud.
Yeah,
We were
yours was loud. Ours was quiet.
yammering.
Yeah, 'cause everyone was in her trailer.
Right. We had the key, which is the person who does the stars of the show.
Right.
And so it was just I don't know why it was so loud. It was just I guess Jackie was in there. I was in there. Kate was in there.
Yeah.
Like the loud mouths.
I love it. So then makeup, then you're done. You're all made up.
You go put your costume on, and then here's what you have to do. What hair do I have to shave?
Yeah, based on what costume was set out for you that day.
Because they're
Am I
so
covered?
high cut.
Yeah, right?
You're like, do I have to shave my pubes today? And I'd be like, Rebekka, what's showing? You have to open your legs, close your legs, sit. You know what I
Yeah, 'cause you
mean?
have to
What
wrestle in this
part-
shit.
What an underrated thing to be concerned with from the 80s.
yeah.
This is where having a best friend in the cast really
Yeah.
comes in handy. I think someone you can
Yeah.
really trust.
But we all became best friends.
Yeah, by the
Hey,
end, we could
Marc
ask anybody.
Maron.
Yeah.
What?
Well, one
Yeah.
day Mark actually said there's the one episode where I'm wearing. It's basically a bathing suit for a prepubescent child, and it's like
Your
that's my
boobs
top, and my
look
boobs
so
were just overflowing,
big.
and I just have to keep lifting it up. And Mark was like, "Man, I never thought I'd be getting tired of seeing so many boobs." Like, 'cause it was just like constantly.
He's like, I've really
lifting
seen a
them
lot
up.
of boob adjustments.
Yeah,
because
because it's when he's telling us that we're not going to have a show,
Yeah.
and I'm like slumped, like sitting there really sad. So then my boobs just kept like coming out, and it was so funny. But we, we had to shave our parts.
Hoo-has.
Yeah.
Yeah, armpits, legs, whatever
Yeah,
it is.
Sure.
You really
Well,
had to
I
clean
was
yourself
lucky.
up.
I would tape my knees every day because my knees hurt from wrestling.
Yeah.
So I was lucky because that means I get to wear like spandex pants all the time. So I didn't have too many pubes exposed. I didn't have to just have bare legs like Kimmy did. Thank
they were all
God.
about
The
Those
amount
bare
of
legs.
times we've talked about exposed pubes on this podcast. I mean, we should change the title. We should really change the name of the podcast.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
so puby.
So then, then you get called to set. You get walked over by one of the PAs to the set, which the main set was like the wrestling ring where you guys saw the
Right.
gym.
The
box.
Was it
warehouse.
did you actually shoot it in Van Nuys? I know it was set in Van Nuys.
No,
No,
we can't- probably can't
sound
say
stage.
where
Yeah,
it
there was
is,
like a
but-
stage, so they had different sets. Like all the interiors were on this stage, so we were in these like trailers in a parking lot, kind of.
That's good. I'm glad
near-
you didn't actually have to go to Van Nuys.
No, we didn't.
I mean, a couple of times we had to go up to San Fernando
Yeah.
in the valley,
Yeah.
but
I've had to go to Van Nuys before. It's not. There's no good
It's a little
reason.
porn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in Matt's porn days.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
No, it was a God. What did I work on in Van Nuys? It was a pilot.
it was
for,
butts, and stuff. It was.
I'll tell you what it actually was.
Yeah,
and it
we
was-
be fucking three.
It was even
Yeah.
more embarrassing. It was where we shot the pilot for the game show version of the game Draw Something.
Wow.
Yes.
Did you host it?
Wow.
No, I worked on it as a writer, and that was where we shot
Sounds like something in
That's
Van
funny.
Nuys.
it. Didn't make it to
A lot
the
of
series.
artsy people in
Yeah.
Van Nuys,
Oh
so
yeah,
it makes a lot
always
of sense.
drawing,
Sure.
constant
Yeah.
drawing.
That's where it's unfortunate where all the cheap productions are.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
It's like nobody's getting paid well.
It's somehow non-union there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a non-union city.
Little enclave.
It's technically in Nevada, so that's allowed.
So
yeah.
you're in the warehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd be there. They'd
So
put
they
us-
built that set from scratch,
Right.
which is amazing because it looks so authentic. And even when you're there, you're kind of like, what? And then you touch it and the brick is just like plaster.
Sometimes the stunt coordinator who we did all of our own stunts, but the stunt coordinator was there, make sure that if we were doing stuff that we were safe. We would go through some stretches.
Yeah.
That was nice,
And
actually.
the director would have us do like blocking, kind of just read the script first without the blocking, and then block it out. And
Right.
each episode was pretty much directed by a different person, so they had different process.
Mm-hmm.
But some people had it where they knew exactly where all 14 of us would be in the area, and
Mm-hmm.
some people didn't have that part planned out, like the rest of it, like the main scene they would, but not the rest of us. So
Those
sort
days
of
we
get
got a lot of
placed-
overtime.
Yeah.
Right.
We'd like place ourselves, whatever, around and pick your stretch. Kimmy and I often would pick a sitting stretch so that we
Sure.
could sit all day.
We learned quick.
Anytime you can sit over standing.
Smart.
Yeah.
I know. I remember Jackie the first day. She was like doing this crazy stretch, her leg like basically over her head, lying down, and she was like, "I really made a mistake."
Yeah. Now they want that. They want
Now
that
they
in
want
every
that for
scene.
6 hours today. Yeah.
The scene where you guys are in the background, like punching the wall and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so
fun.
fun. But then they actually padded the wall. We were
Yeah.
like, you really don't have to, but they did
I'm
anyway.
really glad they did, actually. Because even though
And
you're
you
not...
guys are like running into the wall.
We're running and then banging our heads into
Yeah.
the wall. But, like, our heads wouldn't have gotten hurt, but I feel like over and over with our hands, like, slapping into the wall would
Right.
have hurt. Because you're really selling the pain, you know?
Sure. Look at you using the term selling. I love this.
These are just
Couple of
minor... I
baby
use a couple
faces here.
minor wrestling terms.
We are baby faces. We didn't think that. We thought actually we were going to be heels because the
Yeah.
wives were. I mean, the housewives were heels. So
You're
They were
just
kinda-
too lovable.
yeah.
I think there were too many great bad guys. They're
Well,
like,
and
well,
Chainsaw and... What are the... Spike were heels.
heels,
But
yeah.
the old ladies, they're sweet.
Yeah.
right, you feel for them.
the best.
You're like,
Yeah.
I hope you guys.
So
win.
we were
I
faces.
did as
So we would
somebody who went
stretch.
go to visit my nana in Florida.
Yeah. Don't hurt my nana.
Yeah.
Yes,
Aw.
she's gonna kick your
Exactly.
ass.
Yeah.
You want us to keep going?
Yeah,
Yes.
of course. We'll, and then, what if you had a scene? Like
We
it
would
was.
be reading, like, you
We were
read your
in
lines.
all. We had to act
No.
all the time because we were each other's background because there's no other people. So we were
Yeah.
basically on set.
You're working the whole time.
Yeah, you're working the
Yeah,
whole time.
and so when
There's
we
no
read
sitting
through
around.
when we'd read through the scene, if you have a line, whatever, you have a line, and if you don't, most of the time we were all just there, like kind of
Interacting.
and then you'd throw in a line here, you'd pitch a joke or whatever.
Sure.
do a lot of stretching and like fake fighting in the back, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was some of the most fun was like watching the stuff going on in the background. At least for me, because I'm
Yeah.
like a wrestling fan, so I'm like watching you guys lock up.
Yeah,
Well, that's the fun
totally.
thing about us, like, because learning how to wrestle is that then we actually got to do it in the background instead of just this, like, fake maneuvering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we actually were like, oh, let's do this.
Right, we were like,
our
let's do a lock up and then
combination,
we'll
like
do-
hammer lock,
It was like-
reverse,
was it like-
hair, mare, you know.
Oh my god!
Totally.
The more terms that come out of Rebekka's mouth, the more excited I get. This is just the best. Hammer
know.
locks, mares.
Keep-
Okay,
Yeah.
You're hard on under the table.
sorry.
So how long is like an actual day of shooting then? Like when?
Probably 14 hours.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
Some,
At
there were
least.
some
Sometimes they were longer.
almost 16-hour days, but most of them, 12 to 14 mostly.
Wow.
Yeah. We would, after we blocked it all, then they'd have to light everything, and the stand-ins would come in, and then...
Are they
And I
also
always had a man stand in for me. I was really, I don't know why it upset me so much. I was like, come on, guys.
You
can't
did?
just-
Oh my God,
It was
that's
always a
okay.
guy.
He was
I
also
thought it
very
was
well
Heather.
groomed, all over his body.
Yeah, they just went by his pubes, like what they look
Oh!
like. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
You know
matched.
what? I
They
take
do a
it back.
pube
I feel
match.
good about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
He
you.
was completely
Jerry
different
over
height.
here has a high V.
Yeah.
He would just get him right in there.
Well, Valley, most of them probably have no pubes. The Van Nuys.
Probably, you're right. You're
Well, there
right.
were like 6 stand-ins, I think. So they would just, there was
Sure.
never more than like 6 main, like, dialogue people. And so
Yeah.
they would
How
just have,
excited are you
know,
when they break for lunch? Is that like, oh yes,
Not at all, because there's constantly food.
Oh my God.
oh yeah,
The
craft
food.
service? Let's talk about that.
Constantly.
Yeah,
Good
so we
craft
would
service?
go. Yeah, so the place where the locker room was usually where our chairs would be set up. So we'd all be hanging there, and then just off, like through where the little toilets are, that's where craft service was. They're not real
opens and
toilets.
It's all a sham.
built.
You realize that it's
Yeah.
all just
Yeah.
a set and a sham.
They just kept the amount of food that's out at all times is insane. We had at least like 4 hot meals or 5 hot meals.
Yeah, yeah.
5 hot meals every day. Like at least just like rotating. Like
There was a cheese platter. There was fruit. There was
Yeah.
yogurt.
What are
there
your
was cereal.
craft service go-tos?
nerds.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I ate so many boxes of Nerds. In my chair, there were
That's
so
a
many
weird one.
empty boxes of Nerds. Like,
Yeah. Wow.
like all the girls would comment on it. Betty's like, "Wow, you're really committed, really committed to Nerds."
Kimmy, you're
I like a solid banana.
yeah, good.
See, I would.
You're more in the Matt camp.
I would
Yeah.
find myself setting like rules for myself, like okay, like no cheese before 3:30. You know, like
Yes.
just to
Yeah.
like keep yourself from just going crazy on it. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I gained weight. I couldn't keep myself away.
you know. I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
As long as you're able to do the job. You know?
I've always found that they take craft service way more seriously in LA than they do here.
Yes.
Like here, they might
Probably.
just like a couple sandwiches from the bodega, whereas they bring like a whole trailer of a guy smoking meat and making, breakfast burritos.
There'd be
and
like a
everything.
churro cart one day.
Yeah, just crazy stuff.
Well, one time I
totally.
remember they got these like Fruit Loop Rice Krispie treat type things, and then somehow they weren't happy with them or whatever, and they're like, "We paid $100 for these." It was like 30 Fruit Loop Rice Krispie treats. I'm like, "Do you want me to make them, and you can pay me $100?"
Yeah.
Like, this is so stupid. Like, why are
And
you
they weren't
paying for
happy with them.
Yeah, they weren't happy with them because they were like not that
Right.
good.
There was always there was a little rotation, right? There was like the like Chinese food, like there'd be
Ooh.
rolls and little buns and stuff
Yeah.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
the buns were good.
Buns. And
hot
then
buns.
there was the what are they called? Those bowls, the Hawaiian bowls
Oh.
with the rice and
Acai.
the tuna.
Poke.
Oh, poke. Yeah,
Poke
sure. I love
bowls.
it.
Poke
Yeah.
bowls. And then there was this kale salad that they always had every other day.
At least with the wrestling, you're hopefully probably burning some of it off. Moving
Not
around.
enough.
Yeah, not enough.
Not enough to
That
warrant the
sit
amount
stretching
of food.
isn't burning
No,
that
no.
much off.
Yeah.
No, and they honestly, like, when we started, they were like,
They
don't
said-
lose weight.
oh,
They're like, don't lose weight. We want, like, real bodies. So I was like,
Done.
thank you.
Best best show ever.
Now that I've seen it, I'm like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have listened so hard.
Yeah.
But, like, I'll eat more of the kale salad and less nerds next time, I think.
I love that nerds became your thing. I'm like Hershey's
love nerds
miniatures.
forever.
I have a problem with if they are in excess
Oh, they would
available
be
to
there.
me.
Yeah.
Which ones?
Hershey's miniatures.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Crackle,
The
Mr.
Crackle.
Goodbar.
Oh, yeah.
I eat
yeah.
all of them but the Good Bar. I don't like the Good Bar.
Oh, wow. That's the best one.
That's my favorite.
Idiot.
We'd make a great
I
pair.
know, right?
We would. Here's
Mine
my
too.
theory on craft service. It's very divisive. I always think dinner, most people would be I would be so pleased if it was just like sky-high stack of pizzas. A lot of crew members, they can't do it because people say they get mad. They want something more substantial.
Well, and you can't have that every day.
Not every day, but
3
like
months.
it drives me crazy sometimes. They get like these dumb sandwiches that have like one ingredient on them that ruins it for me.
Yeah.
So I'm always just like, why don't you just order pizza?
I agree. Like, if we produce comedy, pizza is usually the...
Yeah.
Pizza or
lunch.
Subway sandwiches.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, but you don't have a big budget. That's all you have money
Sure.
for.
Yeah, this is like, you
There
know...
used to be that comedy show in the Lower East Side that had Domino's Pizza. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember. That's funny.
Anyway.
Well, did we cover pretty much the day? Oh, I had one more question about it, if you don't mind. It seems like a lot of times, if I was on set, every time I got a break, I'd be like checking my phone, but like if you're on camera,
Is
the
your
whole
phone in
time,
a
like,
locker or in your trailer?
It's on our chairs.
In our chair, yeah. So like when they had to move the camera, then there'd be time when they're relighting stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'd look at our phones then. Sometimes I'd leave my phone in the trailer,
Yeah.
and then we were.
I guess if you have
really
a kid,
just
you really
talking.
need to...
Yeah, but we would just like joke around so much that sometimes you're not like just sitting on your phone. Like all the girls, it was like a constant sleepover.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
That's a good way to do
it was so
refreshing.
fun. Yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
really fun.
A lot of pictures with your phone, really, mostly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of pictures, lots of videos of us doing
Right.
dumb stuff.
You've been posting. I mean, I follow Rebekka. I
Yeah.
don't follow you yet, Kimmy, but I probably
Can't
I
wait
will.
for that.
No, but like you've been
a big-
posting
big move.
You've been posting the best stuff, like all kinds of just outfits and behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, because we weren't allowed to post it the whole time, so
Right.
we saved it all.
You're
up.
like this backlog.
I mean, there were thousands of pictures.
We have a
we have
shared-
a shared stream of pictures, photos. So we
With all
got
the
to-
girls.
yeah,
Oh, that's. Do you have like a group text?
Yeah.
yeah.
May
So
I
much
just
fun.
say,
Love a group
I just
text.
came up with this, if I do say so myself, but have you used the hashtag Glowback Thursday?
No.
Wow, like
Okay.
a throwback. That's good.
All right, think about it. I'm just,
all right.
you don't have to, I won't
It's
be,
spitball in here.
I won't be offended if you decide not to use it, but I'm just throwing it out there.
Do you
love
have to
it.
give hashtag credit?
No, you don't
Okay.
have to. No, no, no. Yes.
Yeah, there's no emoji like where
Yeah.
you do the camera emoji.
Camera
Right.
emoji, yeah. Do you have anything else? Or should we get to
and
the...
so, end of day, you're done. You're out of your clothes into your regular clothes. Car take you home. Your
No,
own
we all
car.
drove.
There's no
yeah.
cars. Like cars really don't take people in LA to jobs,
And
even if it's far
sometimes,
away.
like-
occasional, but
Like a
pretty much.
superstar of a network show, maybe, but
Yeah.
not,
Right.
not
But they would
streaming.
give us stuff to take our makeup off because
Yeah.
it was like so much.
Sure.
I could
and they'd
never
comb
get
our
it
hair
off.
out. They'd put coconut oil in my hair and comb it out. 'Cause
And
it
then
was
you're
like-
just driving home normally, like you leaving the office.
yes.
That's
Wow.
got to be weird. Was there like I mean, obviously it's a long day, but is there like a come down, like an adrenaline? Like we were just messing around all day. Like you can't go right to sleep is what.
I got
I'm
right
getting
to
at.
sleep.
It
usually.
depends on the times. Yeah, because if we got out at like 8 or 9, then yeah. But if sometimes we'd get out at 2, and then you'd be like, oh, I'm sleeping.
Right, I'm
'Cause
going
My
right
son's
home.
waking up at 6:30.
And you lived close.
We both
you
lived
said
10
on
minutes
the
away.
on the Sklar
That's
pod,
nice.
which is great. You didn't have to like go cross L.A.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah,
Which would have
it was
stunk.
it was a dream job in so many ways to work together to like be doing comedy specifically and sketch comedy within a comedy, and then to like only have like a 15-minute commute or less.
And our
was
kids
the
would come to
best.
set sometimes too.
Yeah,
That's
That was
fun.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that
Nice.
was really fun. They'd run around.
it was the best.
And they got to wrestle.
My mom's the one with the boobs hanging out.
No, but my son Fred went up to Kia, who plays Tame, and was like, "I like your legs."
Fred is the best.
She had like shiny tights on, but we were just like, "All right, Fred."
Love
She
that.
loved it.
I love the name Fred.
Yeah.
It's a great name.
Great. Well, let's go to the blow
Yeah,
off.
this is the part where we talk about, is there a time recently when you've blown someone off or when you've said you were too busy to do something? Is there an interesting story you guys have? Or is there a
How do
typical
you go
go-to?
about-
Yeah.
Saying you're too busy.
Well, we have actually been pretty busy, and I have felt bad because you do have to start like choosing things. So someone will ask you to do something, and yeah, I think a show recently.
It's
shows,
improv
live
shows. People
yeah.
ask us to do improv shows, and I have been doing improv for 20 years. Like I love improv, but at this point now, I'm like, I just can't like muster the
Yeah.
energy.
I say things are too crazy right now.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
yeah.
Things are too crazy
yeah,
right
I'm
now.
usually like thanks so much for asking. I just can't make it, and usually, it's just that I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
There's
know.
no shame in that.
Yeah.
It would be weird if you were doing nothing all day and then couldn't make it out to the improv show because you had to sleep. But if you're busy, and then you have a very valid excuse.
Here's the mistake I make, though, and I
Yes.
still do this. I'm trying to train myself not to. Is I say things are too busy right now, or I'm sorry, I'm unavailable, and then I'll say, but let's find another time, and
Yeah.
then they will find another time,
Yeah,
and then
people-
I have to re-blow them.
People,
you know?
Yeah, you got to reblow them. We
No, you don't want the
Double blow.
Yeah.
the double. No, but that's
bloated
it.
blow.
I get into that is because it's a pleasing. It's a self pleasing or not a self pleasing, but it's a
Double blow.
I'm a
I get
people
it.
pleaser.
Yeah.
So it's just like, well, we'll figure it out. I'm not available now, but like hit me in 2 weeks and we'll figure it out. And then they do because
Yeah.
people are pretty persistent when they want to hang out with you or ask you
When they
about,
just need to fill a spot in their show or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and I think that's what it is. Or they, now that we have, the parentheses glow, I think that we might be a bit of a commodity, like just right now. So
Yeah, for the next 2 weeks.
yeah, for
love
the
it.
next 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
And that's exciting because I'd love to be used for my parentheses.
ride it, ride the
Okay,
parentheses
I'll do every
wave.
improv show.
Yeah, okay, great.
Okay. Oh God, why did I say that?
Is there going to be season 2? What's happening? You're
don't know
waiting to
yet.
find out. I would assume that
I
if
would-
they want to do it, that there'll be a season 2.
We have a lot of theories. We've heard from like a publicist that Netflix waits 30 days, but then like this one show, Castlevania, just got renewed the day it came out or something. And I'm
Wow.
like, well, this is all just.
I mean,
who knows?
but everyone's talking about it. It's like very out there in the zeitgeist. It was very good, very well received, and so I don't see why there wouldn't be, unless they didn't want to do it. But they have to do it. There's storylines that are
There's
unresolved.
a strategy of like when they announce it, because like if it starts to people stop talking about it, then if they announce it, then all these other people are going to watch it.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So it might just be
Maybe they're just waiting for it to die down a little bit.
or
and
something,
then-
I mean, it was such just a thumbnail. I mean, there's so many new characters and like places you got all the existing characters can go, and we want to see.
I mean, they literally didn't even. I mean, not to spoil anything.
It
They didn't even make it to the actual TV show.
Yeah,
They only made it through
exactly.
the unfilmed
Shooting.
pilot. So,
yeah. Oh no, that was shot.
The shot.
The
yeah.
10. The 10
and that's
episode
just
10
the
was
wrestling. Then
shot.
there's like personal things that
Right,
come up in
yes.
the show that like we want, like as viewers, we want resolutions to. So
Yeah, there was a plot of Sunitha's character that kind of got cut way back, and I hope that they
Maybe it
kind of
comes
go.
back.
Yeah, I hope they bring that back next if there's a next season, because it was really interesting.
And
Sorry. go
Chavo
ahead.
too was like,
Yeah.
they were asking him like, "Oh, we've done so much wrestling. Like, where can we go from here?" He's like, "Oh, that was just like
That's the
tip."
baseline.
Yeah, and so now we're really excited, like looking into wrestling moves and being like, oh, what do we want to do next year?
well. In
If we
terms
can.
of a possible second season, as we learned on Boiling Points, it pays to be patient, Rebekka.
Why? How long was it between seasons?
No, that was the
that was the
tagline.
tagline.
Oh.
When you revealed, if somebody didn't blow up,
You'd say, "It pays to be
It pays
patient."
to be patient.
And they give
Yeah.
them $100.
And then
Yeah.
you give them the $100.
Oh my God, you guys.
Shout out to Adam Dolgens, who most likely came up with that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Guys, thank you so much. This has been awesome.
Thanks.
It's
Go
been
watch
so
Glow
fun.
on Netflix, everyone.
Yes, please. Anything else you want to mention before we
Can
go?
we plug our social media handles?
Absolutely, please.
I'm at Kimmy Gatewood, Kimmy Gatewood, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
And I'm at Hello Rebekka, and it's hello, and then REBEKKA on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Follow us.
Follow
Yes,
us.
absolutely.
One more
Should.
K in that name would have been very.
Episode
Apt,
7.
apt for the.
You might have to change it.
I might have to, just
Yeah.
for that one episode.
Yeah.
This has been so much fun. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks,
Big fans.
guys.
Go watch
guys.
Glow on Netflix and stay busy,
Stay
everyone.
busy.
Busy. Whenever I get with her, say I'm busy. And I'm gonna hit you later 'cause I'm busy.